Hi guys, this is Breaker, and I apologize for the unusually long black screen that we just had there, and we are back in the game. Okay, so this is a replay I decided to take from Cast It, and this guy in the lower left-hand corner, I know exactly who he is, and I actually had no clue that this is actually who Aegis in the upper right-hand corner, spawning as our blue Terran, would be playing against. And in the lower left-hand corner, it's former EXE Tydrokos, who now belongs to, I guess you could say, Team ETRNTY, and he is absolutely right when he says that no more EXE, it died. I guess, like, since it's no longer existent, it's okay to go ahead and talk about what EXE went through and what everything, like, how it basically disbanded. I do want to say that there was a huge blow to us, morally speaking, excuse me, when we lost Dire Strait. Dire Strait would have to be, you know, basically the spearhead of the amateur team, the amateur competitive team that we had going for EXE. He faced off against a lot of players like Idra, Destiny, Cats. Actually, he never faced off against Idra to the best of my knowledge, but he did play against In Control. He played against Pain User. He played against well, not Maximus Black, but he did play against a lot of personalities in what is the popular mainstream American esports community. And to that extent, I mean, like, he was a huge hero to us. I mean, we thought he was gonna go, okay, he basically went off to college to be a doctor, and he's now living his mainstream life. He's given up StarCraft, and when he said he was going to study to be a doctor, he said that he wasn't going to do it Stefano style. And in case you guys don't get what that means, Stefano is basically a medical student. And the break that he took from his studies and went to EG with and got all of his 200,000 US dollars in tournament winnings and such, that was all a part of his career, and now it's all behind him. You know, I mean, it goes without saying that he got a poop ton of money from playing StarCraft 2. But I mean, I'm not gonna liken it to Stefano, because, like, who in the foreign community is still capable of competing with Code S Koreans in the GSL and so on and so forth? Voicing more on my opinion about EXE, I do have to say that there was a brief period of time where we had just simply, I want to say there were maybe 3 or 4 different people in the clan who were just constantly trolling other members, and it was just getting loud, annoying, obnoxious, and everything else in between. And I do actually remember talking to some members who said that they actually left EXE due to these other members. I don't want to blame Fernath for this. Fernath was a very gentle admin, if you will, for the North American division of StarCraft 2. But overall, it just, I think she was a little too soft. I think there were a lot of times when she just should have straight up handed out insta-bans and things like that. But again, you know, it's in the past. EXE is basically disbanded, and it's not worth worrying about. I mean, and I guess you could say there's always a time for a new start for everybody. I originally joined EXE back in 2011, and now I'm no longer a part of it. I joined because some friends of mine that I met playing PlanetSide, who also switched to StarCraft 2, basically joined EXE, and I was thinking to myself, okay, well, I'll give it a shot. And I had lots of fun. I had a great run with them. When I was in Taiwan, I was actually a member of EXE. And looking at it from a different angle, it was just, I don't know. I think it was because there was one. I think it started falling apart when I actually was in Taiwan. But sorry about that. I was just on TeamSpeak, and I just disconnected from it. Yeah, it's early in the morning in America. It's late at night here in Korea. I didn't think anyone would be logging on, so stupid me. Now, our Reaper went in and saw that this is basically going to be a 2-base style opener, but what's even bigger that the Reaper hasn't caught on to just yet is just where we are going to see the tech up for Tydrokos here. And Tydra's going with some Blink Stalker play. I never really assigned him to one play style or another, because of course I've actually gotten very few of his replays, and I hope he's watching this video, bro. Huge shout out to you with your new team, and I really hope that you do well in the future, man, because you are just an infinite wealth of knowledge. You've got a deep voice to you. People will remember you, things like that. Now, Tydro, what are you planning here, bro? Okay, he takes a long way to do this, and he's going to go ahead and put a pylon down here. I can appreciate that move, but at the same time, he's virtually blind. He didn't take his Xel'Naga Watchtower, so now he doesn't know quite what he's going to be facing up here at the front of his base, but he's got 3 Stalkers, so he's going to be okay going up against this blind. I mean, all he has to do, I mean, if he wants to be absurdly safe, all he has to do is basically pull probes, and he's good to go. And I think our Reaper here, scouting or no scouting for that Twilight Council, you know, Aegis is thoroughly aware of just what kind of an opener Tydrokos is going to, based on the Stalker count and based on the unit composition. And in case you guys were skeptical before, Aegis threw a scan up there just to see if it was only a Twilight Council and not a Dark Shrine being tacked onto it as well. Now, what this does open up possibilities for is, of course, more Archons, or excuse me, cheaper 2-base Archons in the future, as well as DTs if Tydro so elects to go for the DT route. Looks like, ooh, this one Stalker might get cut out just a little bit. Repositioning of his units kind of working out smoothly for him, but Stim is ready now, and the Photon, or not the Photon Overcharge, excuse me, the Time Warp goes down. And that basically eliminates a good chunk of army supply for Aegis. So Aegis right now, I mean, he's got this one bunker back at home. He's got a handful of Marauders, and the Marauders are going to be the biggest threat here to Stalkers whatsoever, because for starters, they have concussive shells if it ever gets started in research, and secondly, they get a buff, a damage buff to Stalkers. And there we go, Stem, a move forward, and Tydro's blinking back those units one at a time. He's not quite able to... Okay, there we go. He does bust a few of the Bio Ball units on the ground, but he doesn't quite kill all of them. There's just too many Marauders, really. Basically, look at it this way. If you have a bunch of Marines and Marauders going up against your Stalker force, you don't want to have, say, half as many Marauders facing up against as many Stalkers as you already have. For example, if you've got six Stalkers and you're facing up against 3 Marauders and maybe 5 Marines, you do not want to continue that engagement, because the Marauders are already pretty tanky and they do a lot of damage to Stalkers. Now, what he is doing behind this is also relatively dangerous. He's going to be putting a lot of Chrono Boost in the near future into these 2 forges, getting out those upgrades ASAP, but at the same time, he knows that there's an offensive force coming his way. So he's actually first applying a ton of Chrono Boost to these 4 gateways here, trying to make sure that he can hold against this forward pressure or this drop pressure that may even be coming his way. Scan goes down, sees what's at the front door, and it looks like Aegis is gonna just stem and stay chill here, checking to see whether or not there's a third. Now he's stemming and moving back, but I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, like, that's stemming and moving back. That's I mean, that's kind of essentially, that's a waste of medevac energy, but I do like this move by Aegis as well. Not only are Stalkers not good against Marauders, I wouldn't say they're particularly I wouldn't say they're particularly bad against Hellbats, but I mean, they just don't have the DPS. They only do... Let me go ahead and highlight this for you guys for just a minute. Oh wait, it doesn't show here. Okay, so unupgraded, Stalkers do 10 damage to anything that is not armored. So that means basically all those Hellbats that we see Aegis with here. Wait, was there some kind of a run by here? Okay, it looks like... no, Aegis got 2 kills over the course of a game with workers, but it looks like that pylon somehow got spotted in a way that I couldn't quite figure out. Anywho, back to the topic at hand. Sorry about that. Stalkers, if they shoot at a Hellbat, they're only going to do 10 damage to the Hellbat. And look at how much HP a Hellbat has. Of course, now they're going to do, I imagine, 12 damage. Oh, wow. And this Marine's just being super annoying to that Zealot. But it looks like, yeah, annoying or not annoying, micro or no micro. We just see this one Zealot here. And I kind of appreciate the scan here. The reason why he did this was to make sure that Tydro wasn't immediately moving out to take full control of the map, put some damage on the third of Aegis, and so on and so forth. But the one thing that does deal more than adequately with Hellbats would definitely be Storms. Hell, Storms deal with anything from the bio branch of Terran. More than aptly. More than aptly. But wait, what is this? It looks like all the Hellbats have been left at home. What's this all about? This has got to be a misclick. Yeah, it is. It is. Oh! No, it wasn't a misclick. I'm sorry. It was not a misclick, guys. This was actually... this is actually a little piece of mind games that Aegis is playing with Tydro. He actually didn't pull any of those Hellbats forward because he's trying to keep them a secret. The longer he keeps them a secret, the better. Because, of course, the one thing that would definitely counter all of this is not really so much Archons, but definitely Colossi. And we, of course, just now see the first Robo coming into play for Tydro. What is this all about? Well, poor SCV. Got trapped for building a missile turret. Alright, so I think maybe Aegis is a little bit confused. He's got 3 missile turrets going at each base. That's a little bit overkill. But I'm not entirely sure what made him read into that. Maybe he's thinking, well, we're entering that stage in the game where warp prisms with DTs are a possibility. And by warp prisms with DTs, a possibility, I simply mean 3-base economy. Getting that Dark Shrine thrown down later on, and I mean, Aegis is basically kind of relatively blind to what Tydro is doing right now. The last thing he scouted is that Twilight Council, and that's it. He hasn't seen this Templar Archives, he hasn't seen any High Templar that I can remember, to the best of my knowledge, and now we're going to have double Colossi production coming out to deal with that bio. Now, the danger therein with what I said that Tydro is going to have, and it's already coming past already, is the fact that with the unit composition that he's sporting right now, along with the double forge composition that he's going with, double forge means reduced production outside of upgrades. And now Aegis is trying to scan around for that army of his opponent. He's trying to figure out just what's in the composition and things like that. But I'm pretty sure by now, Tydro, throwing away those zealots one by one, figuring out where his opponent's positioning is avidly aware that he's facing up against Hellbats now. And he's got +3 and Extended Thermal Lance on the way. Now, we have to keep that Chrono Boost up, Mr. Tydro, and you are doing a good job of that. All 3 of your Nexi, well, I wouldn't say all 3, but your Nexi are getting particularly low with energy. And, oh, sorry about that misclick. Looks like both players are looking for engagement points, but the one thing that I think could definitely help out Tydro if he does this correctly would have to be Force Fields. Of course, that is a lot of zealots. That's like at least 25, 26 to be exact. Now, the problem is, if we see the Zealots go toe-to-toe with those Hellbats, they're just going to melt instantaneously because the Hellbats have splash damage, plus they are basically pretty tanky. And throwing down Storms on top of those Hellbats means also throwing down Storms on top of your own Zealots, which helps them evaporate just a little bit faster. Oh, but this move. Aegis, I don't know whether or not to call this a hidden expo, but it is relatively far away from, I guess you could say, the ideal 4th, but at the same time, I can appreciate it because he's also sending a Marine here to scout whether or not his opponent has a pylon on the high ground. Of course, Tydro in the early game seems to do very well in that regard, keeping, you know, basically pylons everywhere, and both players not directly engaging for the time being because, of course, they're reluctant to. Both of them are. I mean, like, this is it. Protoss Death Ball versus Bio Ball. 200-200 versus 200-200, more or less. But what's really big about this is, to the best of my knowledge, Tydro has not scouted that 4th base. He was going to send a little Zealot run by, and it didn't quite work out. But at the same time, it alleviates supply. More scans going down, and I think Tydro should be able to read into the fact that his opponent is wasting scans, essentially. And wasting scans more or less means that he's got an overabundance of orbital commands. And orbital commands, well, let's just say he knows that his opponent could probably lose all of his bio army if he threw it away, and then maybe, I wouldn't say immediately switch into Sky Terran, but he would definitely be getting there. And right now, as you can see, the personal cloaking as well as the ghosts are coming into play. And that basically means, you know, we're getting closer to that end game. I wouldn't say it'll be the end of the game, but I mean, both players still have a lot of fight in them. Tydro's got his +3 finished already, but wait, what is this? Terran vehicle and ship plating level 3. Now, the reason why we saw our Terran going for his vehicle ship plating instead of attack is, of course, it'll be easier to help him switch into that Sky Terran composition. And rapid expoing, of course, that's another indicator that he's going for that Sky Terran composition. But more and more barracks going down. I'm not sure if that's the Sim City because they're all 150 minerals and they also, you know, they help make a complete wall off. But at the same time, it'll also help the macro of Aegis as well. He could buy time by just spamming Marines at his opponent, no medevacs and things like that. Scans going down, trying to eliminate any observers, and I think, you know, sooner or later we did actually have Aegis get one, but now he's actually moving out. He's ready to put an end to Tydrokos' life in this game. And the EMPs going down on top of those High Templar. The force fields are virtually negated now. One or two storms do actually miraculously find a way into this Terran army, and the Zealots charging forward, eager for blood. The Colossi left over here, kind of okay, but I don't know. Is there enough energy on this one Templar for a storm? There's more than enough for... There's enough for 3 storms on one High Templar that I've clicked on right now. Yeah, he's right over here, and Tydrokos just hasn't noticed him yet. I wouldn't say he's saving him as a trump card, definitely. It's just a mistake, but wow, that defense. Tydro, I did not see you doing this for your... I did not see you doing this facing up against your opponent just now. I really could not. I didn't think you were going to hold. The positioning was less than immaculate. Less than adequate, for that matter. But now, look at this. The macro of his opponent is getting out of hand. And Aegis requested a pause, and everything's okay. A few SCVs that are idle over here in the main, but that's about it. They could actually be moved to the natural, and that would make for some optimal mining, I believe. But Tydro is now expanding into his opponent, and he doesn't quite know it yet. And there's nothing wrong with that. There isn't. There is nothing wrong with that. But another scan goes down from our Terran, and he's basically saying, okay, so that's my enemy's 4th base. And it's got a lot of static defenses. I think you saw the photon cannons there, but now... You know, we see things getting closer and closer to that Sky Terran composition, I want to say. It may not even come to that, because we already see that Aegis has got superior macro, really superior, immaculate macro, 2200 minerals per minute for income. And there's just way too many units here on the ground for any number of High Templar from Tydro right now to actually go ahead and feed back everything. And besides that, the EMPs are going to hit first, but here we go. Both players just looking for that position, and the storm's going down before the EMPs. Kind of not too bad, but at the same time, the Vikings are actually taking down all of the Colossi. They're going to be able to single shot this last one, and they do so, in fact. Tydro now at 50 supply below that of Aegis, and a beautiful storm to save the day for Tydro for the time being. Aegis kind of losing momentum with that engagement. The Zealot on the Xel'Naga Watchtower was taken down, and thus the vision of our Protoss has been reduced. Vikings picking back up in case any more Colossi come into the composition, but the Bio Ball just advancing forward on everything. Here's beautiful storm, but the Stalkers are too concentrated on the Bio. The Colossi are being taken down by the Vikings as a result. And there it goes. There's just so much Bio there that it gets targeted down. And now Zealots warping in, Archons warping in, morphing in, and they're not even getting a chance to finish, and Tydro is now just getting moved onto, just getting stemmed and moved onto, and more reinforcements are gathering up over here, but they're not being immediately sent over. But this is a nice little cheeky play by Tydro. This one Zealot, 24 kills in the background. Wow. But at the same time, Tydro did just pull all of his probes. He put them on his new 5th base. And I guess that'll help buy some time, but the bigger problem is really, you know, what's going on with the base that Tydro hasn't scouted yet. It's a planetary fortress, so it'll be able to take down that single Zealot there, no problem. But beyond that, Tydro's already scouted these other 2 bases, and he's just thinking to himself, okay, well, there's nothing I can do with that just yet. High Templar is going to get picked off, unfortunately. That one Zealot's going to try and go to town over there, and there's a bit of a concave going down here, a little, I wouldn't say a concave, but a surround of some sort. And now we have to see Tydro warp in units over here, pretty far away from his fight. And I just gotta say this to this stage in the game. The pylon placement has been amazing. It's just been essentially like something I would imagine from Hawk. Day 9 did a daily on that. But Planetary Fortress is morphing, excuse me, it's in production right now. It's about to finish up in the near future. But, you know, I mean, Tydro's trying to do whatever he can. I think he's trying to put out, a fire with a squirt gun. Like, he's trying to put out a house fire, an apartment building on fire, using just a squirt gun. Scan goes down, and that reveals the entire position of Tydro's present main army. And the single volley to kill all the Colossi. The storms, like, Aegis just realizes, okay, I don't even need to spread my units anymore, and I can just absorb that storm and take this entire main army. And Tydro knows it as well. He just says Imba, and he leaves the game. I don't think he really, you know, I don't think he meant it. I don't think he meant it. Come on. This isn't the Tydro that I know. But at any rate, if you guys liked what you saw here today, just go ahead and give my channel a subscribe. That's all you need from me. This is Breaker. I'll see you guys next time.